Hello parents, I'm Mr. Howard Yu. I wish to send my greetings to your child. Understand that tomorrow will be the first day of the last term where they'll be gearing towards the final preparation for this year, 2020 PSLE. Yeah, just an update to parents. I've analyzed several schools' paper for the science prelim this year. And I noticed there's a trend that this year it seems that many schools have set easier paper this year. So you need to make adjustment if your child is scoring high. I mean, make adjustment in our expectations. If your child is scoring quite high in the prelim, perhaps the paper is quite easy. So what I did is I've compiled difficult prelim questions since last Saturday or even Friday. I have started to test students on those difficult questions which I have actually compiled from several schools. So I'd like to share with you some of these questions which I've done with students over the past days here. So what I did is I call this post-prelim science cross-training. So what I do is I've compiled different questions and even customized the questions by putting students' name inside. Like Jovan is a student in my P6 class in the morning. And this paper is actually taken from ACS. ACS prelim for this is actually a rather difficult paper. So I've used its questions to test my students' understanding. And I've even made a story in this question saying that Etienne made a hole in a tin of milk before pouring it out. When she went to a drink store after a tuition with Mr. Yu, she saw that a drink store at Beauty World Center had made 2 holes instead of 1 in a tin before pouring out the milk as shown. So the students are supposed to state the difference observed and also explain the answer in part A. So this is actually a P4 questions. As you understand that PSLE actually tests students' science concept from P3 to P6. So this is a good revision because this question involves displacement of air and also liquid. It's actually a P4 topic under the title of matter. And also they integrate this to another matter questions about the properties of liquid. And then next questions is about rate of evaporation. So I've actually included this concept. Of course, this will not be in the actual prelim or PSLE paper, but it's actually in the book which I've given to your child to review about the rates of evaporation is caused by these 4 factors. So the first one I've really listed here. Rate of evaporation is increased by increased surface area. So as they fill up this box here, this will help them to answer the question above. So they can relate to what they learn in my lessons or in my book, and then to apply these concepts appropriately to answer these questions. Because PSLE generally in open-ended, they test the students the ability to apply what they learn. And this is quite related to real-life application. And similarly, as you can see here, this is a very typical evaporation condensation questions. So I've extracted from my training manual the water vapor in the whatever here. So in this situation, it's the water vapor in a dish rack with higher temperature, lost heat to the plastic cover with lower temperature and condensed to form tiny water droplets. So of course, as a teacher, I also encourage students to set aside time daily to exercise and relax, keep fit. Because during this period, I understand that some students are experiencing high stress level. So as parents and educators, we need to be observant to manage their stress, to help them to de-stress. So usually when they do some of these questions in my class, I do make effort to play soft music, instrumental, to help them to relax. And also here, I also encourage them, teaching some values, helping parents in dishwashing is good too. It's a form of relaxation. So hopefully your child do help you to wash dishes after my training. And this is questions on P5 electrical circuits. So they're supposed to connect this. And this question I especially like because the students is being brought to a higher level of understanding of this typical camera. I believe not many of them have used an actual camera because in our digital age, we use a lot of mobile devices, phones, to capture images. So these questions also can help them to understand what is the advantage or disadvantage of certain circuit arrangement. So this is what I've been doing for the past week, gearing them towards the PSLE. So these are the questions I extracted from this school, ACS. And then another question here, because this year, as you know, 3 topics from P6 will be removed. So according to my analysis and forecast, there may be more question testing on forces, which is one of the P6 topic. So in these questions, I emphasize about the relationship between frictional force and gravitational force. So if gravitational force exceeds frictional force, then the object will slide down the slope or drop downwards. Conversely, if frictional force is greater or equals to gravitational force, then the object will remain on the slope or will not drop downwards. So they need to use this type of concepts to understand and to answer questions relating to forces. Yes. And let's continue. Yeah. So usually a trick questions will appear is sometimes students get so-called like tricked by the question of gravitational potential energy. So I remind them, I warn them, don't mix up gravitational potential energy with gravitational force, because gravitational potential energy is due to the mass of the object, gravity, and the height of the object above the ground. But gravitational force is only due to the gravity of the Earth acting on the object. So this is something some students get tricked, especially during the actual exam stress. Yeah, this question actually comes out in ACS question 28 in the multiple choice question, if I remember correctly. So I wish them all the best in their learning. And then there's another worksheet I'd like to share with you is this worksheet. This question is also quite good. It's about P4, matters, air can be compressed. So these are questions extracted from this year's Henry Park P6 prelim examination. And this is also a very good question. They must be able to interpret this graph relating the amount of air trapped in the fur of different animals, P, Q, and R. So this is we call interpret questions from the graph, interpretation. And then similarly, this one is quite common about evaporation and condensation and circuit diagrams. And of course, I wish them all the best in their training. So just to put things into perspective, this is actually the timeline that I've just calculated, counting from tomorrow, 14th of September, till PSLE Science. We have a total of 21 or 22 days for preparation. There's about 3 more sessions with me. So I wish the students and the parents that we can have good partnership together to encourage your children and my student to do their best in the coming PSLE. So of course, I like to encourage them to relax. So you can also plan for your PSLE marking day. Do remember to subscribe to my channel, One Academy Science. Sharing this with you. This is the night scene of Singapore, viewing from the Sky Park on the 56th floor of Marina Bay Sands on the 8th of September 2020. I may have forgotten to turn on the sound, so let me turn on again. Sorry about that. And let me replay, because sometimes I forgot to turn on this. So let's replay this again, and hopefully you can enjoy this sharing. This is the night scene of Singapore, viewing from the Sky Park on the 56th floor of Marina Bay Sands on the 8th of September 2020. And this is the bay, and right there is the historical Singapore General Post Office, which has been converted to the Fullerton Hotel. And this is the awesome site. Yeah, the reason I share this is because, as you know, this year, due to COVID, we can't go out of country. So actually, many hotels, including MBS, they're giving a special discount to Singaporeans. So as you know that there's 4 days of PSLE marking day starting from the 19th of October, 19, 20, 21, 22. So perhaps you can plan ahead to book some staycation with your children, because these 4 days, the other levels children will be busy preparing for the exam. So I just give you a good suggestions to book these 4 days to spend time with your P6 child, because myself, I have 4 children and my youngest is also P6. So it's a good time to build relationship before they go to secondary school. I think the money and the time spent will be worthwhile. So I wish all the parents the best in our partnership together to help your child, not only to score good grades, but also to teach them to value life and also to experience failures, how we can be strong after we fail. Perhaps they did not do very well in prelim, but do not lose hope, because as we strive, as we try our best, eventually we'll root the fruit of our hard work. So I wish all the children and parents a blessed time together as we prepare for this national exam. And I wish you all the best in the coming weeks ahead. Thank you and God bless.